Well, joining us now, we are talking about summer nights over at the Museum of South Texas History, and we are joined by Rene Ballesteros. So thank you so much for coming in today, and thank you so much for coming in costume.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. So tell us a little bit, before we get into summer nights, kind of tell us a little bit about your getup.
Okay, so this is a costume from the colonial period down here. When the Europeans came over, the Spanish mainly were in this area. They're also French and some English, I've heard. But the Spanish really came over. This is kind of the dress that you would expect to see that they wore. Eventually, they adapted to the climate. You know, they kind of changed over a lot of time. But this is an example of the kind of thing that you're going to see at the museum. This is one of my favorite events because you really see a lot of people in costume, and they're in the galleries, so you almost get taken back, you know, with your imagination.
Oh, awesome. So tell us a little bit more about Summer Night. So I know this is something that we'll get to see. It's kind of like a peek into history, like you're taking a step back into it, which I think is really exciting. And it's very interactive and creative, and it really gets your imagination going, as you said, to kind of imagine, okay, how were things back then? So tell us a little bit about Summer Nights, which first night is 2-night.
Yes.
So tell us a little about it.
Yeah, so it's a 3-night series. The first one was on Thursday. The next one coming up is the 27th of June, and then our last one is going to be the 11th. So even if you missed the first one, you still have 2 opportunities to come in. Every single night they're different, and they explore a different gallery in our museum. The first night was a River Frontier, which we just had, and then River Highway is the one coming up where you'll see steamboats and cowboys and a lot of soldiers from Mexican, from the Confederates, from the Union, from all over the place. And our last night, finally in July, is our 20th century, which is everything from 1900 to the year 2000. So you'll see a lot of World War II folks and a lot of things hands-on, especially. That's one of our big focuses for kids to come in, and it's very family-centered for kids to come in and try these things that they see.
Most definitely. And so when people are walking through the museum, in particular, kind of what are the reactions to these things? Because I think it's really exciting because you get to see kind of how things were a little bit back then, whether it's from a daily, you know, chore that they're doing or to help with their livelihood, or maybe their way of entertainment or fun. Kind of how is that for people?
So I guess for me, the biggest kind of reward is the wow factor. Seeing a kid say like, oh my gosh, wow, like I've never seen anything like this before. And then further than that is seeing, you know, parents, even grandparents talking with their children, and then making that connection between generations, making a memory there at the museum. That's the coolest part when we see people come in.
Most definitely. And what would you say, which time period are you most excited for, whether you've already done it yet or it's still to come in the next 3 nights?
Oh man, so the first night, I guess the really fun one that we love to do is we set up a big tarp and we do atlatl shooting. So you're hunting a mammoth and you're actually using spears and a tool that was used around the world in our area too. The second night we have a riverboat band, and that's the one coming up. And they're on the steamboat in the gallery playing old tunes. It's really like sets the mood pretty much. And then the third night, I really like that because that's when we see, well, it's the 20th century. So a lot of grandparents will remember some of the things that they're seeing, and you see that big connection with their kids.
Wow, that's going to be so exciting, especially when you can bring in your family members, especially in that last night that you all will have. For people to kind of, because right now we're just thinking of, stories that we've heard, maybe our grandparents have heard from their parents and so on that are told about time periods in the past, or things we've read in history books, right? But with that more current period, whether you have a grandparent that can remember or was around in certain time. It's a nice way to kind of connect with them, as you mentioned. So I think it's really interesting. And then you have what's kind of in the early 2000s or the 2000s, and so before the 2000s. So I think that's really an interesting thing to be able to do. And I think that's a great thing about history, is that you can do that. You can make a connection throughout whatever time.
Absolutely. And at our museum, I mean, we focus on the history of our region. So then you're also learning about some unique stories that you might not hear anywhere else. And you're also getting to know about your own heritage. The history of this region really helps you know like why we are the way we are now, right? You know, why everything is, why there are railroads around, why the river was such an important part of the valley. So it's a lot of fun to kind of teach and learn back from the guests too.
Of course. And so the people who are participating there, who are dressed up as well, are they all volunteers that kind of come in and help out?
It's a big team effort. A majority of them are volunteers. We also have a lot of staff that come in, and like I said, it's a lot of work in a way, but it's always fun. It ends up in the one big night, and really seeing people's smiles and interactions is the best part of it.
Definitely, and I can tell, you know, just by watching a little bit, some clips, that you can tell that people are actually getting into their character, their role. They're really, which helps you feel like you're really taken back in time and really participating in that hands-on activity. So it's really exciting. So Summer Nights, would you say is probably, I know you said it was one of your favorites, would you say it's one of the most popular events that you all host at
least for families? I guess our bigger ones would be like Pioneer and Ranching in February and Dia de los Muertos in November. But this one, I think it's just really concentrated, and we have a lot of folks in costume. Also, what we do for this night, when you come in, you get a card, which is a scavenger hunt. As you do the activities, you get stickers saying you completed it, and at the end, the kids turn it in and they get a free kids meal from Raising Cane's. So there's a little prize in there too.
A little treat at the end. So this sounds really exciting. So you still have 2 more nights to catch, folks. So definitely go out and check out the museum's website if you want to get more information, or if you want to find out kind of what you can expect, or if you just want to visit the museum in general, definitely go check out their website. So tell us really quickly before you go, the last 2 nights that people can go out and check it out.
So it's June 27th and July 11th. And by the way, there is a fee. It's $8 for adults, $5 for children.
Perfect. And it's a great summer activity because it's going to be fun and interactive, but at the same time, you're also getting a little lesson and learning a little bit and kind of connecting with your family. So it's a really great opportunity. So thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Of course, it's always fun coming back.
Thank you.